Ladies and gentlemen, apologies for the intro music not quite working as intended. Had a bit of a back-end issue there, but we're here for the final round of the season. And what a round we have got coming up. It's going to be a brilliant race out here at Suzuka. We are, of course, joined by our great roster of racers who are about to go trackside here for qualifying, so we are going to waste zero time. We've got much to discuss. Many of the racers who are going to be having their final performance out here and will be wanting to make quite the show for us all here tonight. The drivers are just leaving now for qualifying. You can see they're all going out and getting themselves ready to go, but this is the outlap, remember, so we have a little bit of time to discuss the standings. Liam Blom has firmly locked out the championship in gold, but the fight is still on between Wolfslener, Larson and Marsh in the gold class. You move down to silver. You have Patrick Larson, 15 points ahead of Colin McNair, who's got 40 points at penalties, but he has got the pace, and his last race proved that he's got the mettle to take it. He just needs to make it work tonight, and then you've got Paul Hamby, just a couple of points behind. Then you go to bronze. You have Chris Wilson leading 20 points on Alex North, followed by Andy Aldhouse, just 2 more points behind that. And we have got ourselves the full cohort and the full roster of cars now making their way up. Of course, Suzuka is an iconic course. And you've got, of course, 130R, 200R, the Degners, Casio Triangle to round off the lap, and then the S's. Your first sector, of course, going to be crucial there. But we have many cars making their way through. And we will be now joining them properly. The outlap is all but complete. This is going to be SIMseniors' final run of Season 7. And with a 15-minute qualifying under our belt now, let's see what these racers can do. First up to the plate, Thomas Linatus, a familiar sight and a very strong driver indeed. Much to play for here in silver. We'll see what he's capable of running. So making his way nice and quick through to the first corner. Keeps the line wide so he can tail it back in. Takes a little bit of the curb there. Trying to go maybe a bit aggressive as we are going to quickly hop on board. Linatus has the pace and the wherewithal to go for this initial run. Because everyone is going to be out there seeing what they can initially grasp. Over 200 kilometers an hour before jumping onto the brakes quickly for Degner 1, Degner 2, and then through under the bridge. One of the very rare to have a crossover point on any racetrack, especially one like Suzuka. It's going to be a highlight of the track for sure. Once we really get into the racing, we'll see that in full. 200R now. Keeping it consistent, keeping a smooth line all the way and through to the spoon curve. Jumping on the brakes just before the curb, and then lining himself up to try and get as much grip as quickly as he can get on the throttle out of that corner, as one can make it. Making his way by the miniature pit lane for the west layout. The alternate variations of the circuit. You have Suzuka East, Kansai West. And then through 130R, named after the amount of, or the curvature of the corner. And then through the Casio Triangle to finish. First time on the board, Linatus, number 12, in the McLaren. What's he going to be able to put down as a solid first run is going to be set? It is a 2 minutes and 1 second here. And it's going to be immediately displaced by Jimmy Engdahl. Dave Marsh is going to go a 2 minute point 3. 2 minute flat coming from Peter Wolfslener. A few more cars making their way down. Hamby on his way through, trying to see if he can get higher than third out of this one. Liam Blom comes through with a 159.3, so he is going to be the time to beat as we've seen in sessions past. and be coming down in the Lamborghini now. Looking very smooth, very solid. What times he's going to be able to grasp as he comes up to the line? It's P9, 201.2. Many drivers now finishing up some of their runs here. Chris Wilson making his way up to the line. Casio Triangle, Aston Martin looking nice and smooth with it. And it's all about keeping those good arcs and good lines. Conserving your speed, not scrubbing the tyres too much. It's going to be a 2-minute 3, but invalid 2:03. We'll have to go out once again. You see it, though? In the number 992. Coming up to the line now, and in good form as well. It's a P16. 2:03.9. 24 cars are going to join our field today. The fighting is going to be fast and fierce. We jump on board with current pole sitter and Gold Championship leader, David Lindblom. He's currently up on his Delta. He could be getting an even faster time out of here. See what he's able to muster. Might be coming up to a little bit of traffic as well. See, doesn't yield. He barely lets off the throttle. He doesn't even touch the brakes. He lets the car rotate itself through. He's slow and steady through the lap there. Validated, unfortunately, so I think he yielded off in that last run to try and get the best possible run up to go again. Let's see, very slow through the Casio Triangle, and that was why. Many drivers who are out here are going to be trying to make the most out of tonight. Of course, last race of the season. Potential to make a last-minute leap in the standings. Remember, we have 46 cars on the timing boards, on the championship boards, and 24 cars making it tonight. So this will be where we have plenty of chance for those who are out there to really make a splash. I'm going to jump back on board with a couple of other cars. So Lindblom, for instance, he's 2 tenths up, and we'll check in on him in due course. But I want to keep an eye on Wolfslener. Wolfslener is making a serious amount of headway. Of course, got that early 2-minute flat. He's just got a 59.7, coming up to the back of Dave Marsh in the number 27 Porsche, but he's got a lot of pace on tap in that Bentley. He could potentially pip Lindblom in this run here. Let's see what he's capable of as he makes his way through the Casio Triangle. A little bit of a hop on the rear axle there. They're making his way down to the line. It's half a second up. Is it going to be enough to take pole? Yes, it is at a .197. What is Lindblom going to do in response? He's still on track for a fastest lap. Is that going to be personal, or is that going to be enough to take top honors here? It's a 58. It's a 58.9. That is a seriously aggressive run and a brilliant showing there from the likes of Lindblom and Wolfslener both. They are pushing each other to the limit, and it's brilliant to see. Many other cars also making their way through. We'll jump aboard with Damien Reed, just coming up to the line here. He has got an invalid, but we can maybe see if he was on track for an improvement. He was on track for a 2-minute .9, so that would have got him up into P11. Unfortunately, couldn't quite make it work this time. We do see a few different jumps around as Ascari Herme has just come through. It's a 2-minute .212. He's going to be firmly in that 5th spot. Great run there for the Ferrari. Continues to impress in the silver group. James Payton coming across the line. I believe the only AMG on the field. Makes his way through for a P10. And then you have Colin, who's just managed to pip him up into P8 here. GTR looking mighty fast. As a .430 is going to get him in very close proximity to the top end. When you get to this level, only a couple of tenths will separate you from the top 5 versus the top 10. It's aggressive time setting. And while we have got 5 minutes left to go, a 2-minute lap around here means that there's only going to be viably 2 more runs. 3 and a push if you absolutely nail your timings. If you're someone like Damian Reed, for instance, you'll just miss out on the 3rd lap because it will be very close to the wire. Unless you're getting consistently, all of a sudden, sub 2 minute. And then I think that might be a little bit of a stretch as he's coming his way down into 130R. Holds his composure and holds his nerve. Very well collected here. Then making his way up to the line. Helmet POV here, 6 tenths down. 2 minute .952. He's going to jump himself up into P14. A solid run to cap off a good lap. Simon Eade making his way up. Invalidated, unfortunately, but that could have been a 201.2. There was still some in the tank for him here. Hero could see a couple of tenths improvement. He's on track for it. Is there going to be in a position gained? I don't believe so. 23rd is the best he's going to make it, at least for now, unless these final runs do wonders. Okay, we return to where we start. Lenatus, 6th in Silver Championship. Racers on fire. Tensions are high. The fire is stoked and the fire is lit heading into this final round. We've got much to look forward to when we get to race day. P11 from Lenatus there. What a solid improvement. A very good P11. And a very smooth lap at that. Johan Larsson making his way up to the line. Number 2 minute .492 was his previous. Best he got there, .660. Looks like he lost a lot of time in that 3rd sector. Casio Triangle can bite you if you don't set your car up appropriately. A new improvement from Ostrishaz is going to put himself up into P14, but he has dropped off a little bit in terms of the push upwards that he was having with that BMW M4. Jump aboard with another. There's Carl Thompson, also in the R35. And we have seen that car be quite a formidable machine for those who have the strength to wield it. Coming up to the line there. 2 minute .275, 202.2. 21st here for Carl Thompson. I'm sure he can be quite happy with the improvement, but there is a driver who is going out again. It's the other R35. It's going to be Lindblom. We'll check in on him in due course. But Johan Larsson, another driver. Remember, this time last season, Larsson was being a pain in the other's side as a worthy and very strong competitor. So we'll see, can he get that upward momentum? Remember, a 1 minute 59 is going to get you into the top 3. He could stand to make it work here. Needs to link up Casio perfectly. That looked a little bit slower. Looks like he took a little bit of a wider line, went too deep on the second half. Can he make it work? 2-minute point 4. It's a 2-minute point 1. That's going to be enough for P5. But just shy of the fabled 1-minute 59. So, has got one more chance here. The checkered flag is now falling. 3, 2, 1. Unfortunately, Lindblom not going to get another time set. He has returned to the pit, and this leaves a crucial few last competitors. Chris Mansell coming up to the line, 202.3, and a 202 to beat to get into the top 20. Makes his way to the line. It's a 0.1. That's enough for 21st position. Meanwhile, you have Andy Oldhouse, a strong contender for the top fight in the bronze class. He's going to stick it in P16, and a good run at that. Carl Thompson, any improvements coming in from him? Let's see. He's a couple of tenths up. Last chance. He is going to get it up a single position higher. So 202.1 dead. But that's McNair heading into the pits. That's Peyton heading into the pits. Hermé is going to be out one more. Remember, he's leading. Oh, a little bit wobbly, very wobbly over Cassio. He was 6 tenths up and he burned it all in that final chicane. That could have been a sub 2. That could have been the only silver in sub 2. In the end, it's going to be a 2-minute point 5. That's real unfortunate. He was so close to really making that impression, making that history almost. Just didn't quite link up for him here. Lawson making his way up. He's not gaining or losing time either way. Is he committed? Yes, he's committed. All he needs is a 10th and a half, and he could get himself up into P4. Very good, Cassio. It's a 2-minute point 0.05. It was so close, but not this time. And then Wolfslener is in, and that is time. So looking through the field, we see Wolfslener. He's going to be P2 in the gold class, but Lindblom is going to be your sole top pole position holder once again, alongside Dave Marsh, with a very impressive stance and a very impressive fielding of the time. Only these top 3 have been able to get sub 2 minute. And then you have the scary thought of Lindblom, who just got a 58.9 on his last run. Seriously terrifying stuff. Hermé is going to be your leader for silver, alongside Paul Hamby and Thomas Linatus getting a P10. Last run, he got a couple of tenths extra for good measure, and he's got himself firmly through into that top 10 in flying style as well. And then you look to bronze with Andy Oldhouse taking top honours, followed shortly by North and Hughes. Great racing here in Quali, and we still got the 60-minute race that awaits us, so we have much to look forward to. Going to take a short intermission. We'll get a bit more time to talk about the standings, a bit more time to talk about the season in review as we head into our closing run. But don't go anywhere, folks, because we will be back with you very, very shortly. See you soon, and see you for the race in just a couple of minutes' time. Welcome back, folks, and welcome to the final race. Season 7 has been a brilliant run for us here at SIMseniors. It's been amazing to watch, it's been amazing to be a part of, and it has been great to see everyone on the driver's side of things pull their absolute A game to the track, pull out all the stops, and really make this season something worth watching, worth commentating over, and worth racing for. We, of course, rejoin the drivers at Suzuka, and it's a 60-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. If you've been around here for the season, you already know the drill. And for those who don't, the mandatory pit stop encourages some strategy, but you have optional tyres. I think around Suzuka, we might see most drivers go for it, and we might see a lot of drivers pitting around the 30 to 40 minute mark. A few drivers tend to go all the way. They tend to go to the very end and then go for the splash and dash strategy. But this is going to be quite the race. The drivers will have a lot to contend with. We're on board the helicopter now as everyone is going to be getting themselves set and the outlap being officially underway, warming the tyres and getting themselves ready to go. Liam Blom, of course, leads out of a very impressive and strong qualifying with Wolfslander and Marsh close behind. I think these top two in particular have really been pushing to the ragged edge, to the limit. Liam Blom and Wolfslander, Bentley and GTR. They've been great to watch all the way through. Especially the differing strategies. We've seen some serious improvement for strategy and some serious improvement around the entire field, both in terms of time and how to manage the race. I'm very much looking forward to what we have in store today. And as we always tend to say, or as I always tend to say, it's the end of the season. It's bittersweet because on the one hand, you get the climax to an amazing season of brilliant racing. But on the downside, you get the climax to a season of brilliant racing. Means we might not see the mainline championship for a little bit, where it has been an absolute pleasure to broadcast. And a pleasure to be in the commentary box and interacting in the live chat with you all. You can see everyone now starting to slow down, coming out of Spoon Curve. They're going to assume formation position. Going out 130R. And then they'll be lining up double file. Ready to go one last time. As you can see, getting into the right spots. The track is beautiful and sunny. 33 degrees surface temp, no problem getting those tyres into their operating window. Where we are, careful not to collide and slow down, allowing the whole field to close up, close in, and get ready for the final fight. Championships potentially on the line here. It's to be gained or lost as we make our way up for the final time in Season 7. The track is hot here in Japan. The drivers are primed, they're race ready, and the green light is here. It is all Go, go, and are making their way immediately down with ferocity through into the first corner. Here's Liam Blom immediately on the apex. He's going full aggressive. He wants that position early, and he wants to take that early gain, that early lead, in order to get himself a bit of a breakaway. He needs that space in order for him to operate. You can see massive chaos at the back end of the field, however. There is cars that are going off at the S-curves. There's going to be cars all the way down at the back end recovering from a major incident. And there will be chaos in the streets as the drivers try to find some kind of stability, some kind of firm footing. McNair, Hamby, rivals intertwined. Second and third in championship, first and second through Degners. It's gonna be a very close call. Hamby right to the edge of the circuit. McNair going hyper aggressive on the line. Or he's pushing his car to the very edge of the apex. Hamby in the end taking a little bit of a slip, and that's going to have a dramatic knock-on effect because that is Patrick Larson just behind him. Remember, championship leader here, and he's currently stuck behind McNair and Hamby by a significant margin. Oscar Herme is going to drop down some positions as well. Looks like there's been major chaos around this course, as everyone is trying their best to just find some open room. A very chaotic first lap. And much more to be discussed. As we can see, even a bit further back, that's going to be Colin. He's peeking alongside. He's hungry for the spots. He fires it into Casio. Final chicane. Holds the line, holds firm. Knows how to drive on the limit of the track. I've got to say, very well executed there. You can see very narrow. That is going to be Engdahl and Marsh. He's defending third place. And in fact, Engdahl is going to drop off to Guillemot. Liam Blom and Wolfslener are going to duke it out. They're up at the top end, and they have got a 2-second breakaway almost already. Impressive driving from these top runners and all around. But the race is young. The pressure is high. Wolfslener's feeling it. We saw a bit of a drop on the rear axle. See if we can keep his composure through Degner 1, Degner 2. Liam Blom is hungry for that spot. He is absolutely hungry for it. Just watch him go here. Watch him try to measure up his opponent as well. Size him up. Peek left, peek right. See what he can get away with. You see a tiny little bit of a nudge on the nose. As if to get the car to sniff out potential opportunity for a gain. Wolfslener is feeling the presence. Both of them making a very smooth line as Liam Blom goes a little bit too deep into 130R. Has to bow out and sacrifice a little bit of speed, but quickly re-establishing the proximity through the final couple of corners. See Wolfslener trying to break the slipstream a little bit, trying to go very narrow. As they all are looking for a chance. Here's going to be McNair chasing Lenatus. He's going to get the spot. Herme is a couple of positions ahead, but very early aggression shown from McNair. In a good way. To clarify, this is in a good way. He's fighting forwards. He's getting positions. He's making gains. Putting on some seriously impressive driving in order to assert where he wants to go. We've got a little bit of calm further down, so let's see what exactly happened in that first, in those first sort of moments of the race. We had a major set of collisions. We're going to look a little bit further away. This is going to be the number 25 car, among others here. And you can see heading through, that's Simon Eade, heading into one of the McLarens. And then Carl Thompson, among others. And oh, there's a spin, there's Eade. He's picking up a couple of other cars. That's Iro, that is Mansell. And I can see, I think Damien as well. Oh no, Damien Reed is just further down from where he got a pit stop under his belt. Meanwhile, back a bit further. 2 laps in, and Lindblom is on the hunt. Let's see what he can do. Very close there. Very close coming in from Lindblom. You can see after a couple of laps of battling, he's very much looking for the chance to get by. To the point where he's starting to look a little bit out of shape, a little bit out of sorts heading through the S-curves. I wonder if there's a little bit of a wavering in, not confidence, because he knows the pace he's capable of, but a bit of wavering in the patience. Because Lindblom is a driver that functions best when he's given the room to breathe and he's not encumbered by other drivers in his way. He might not be the strongest when it actually comes to wheel-to-wheel combat. See, we jump around a bit further. Field starting to spread a little bit. Is Johan Larsson coming up to the back of Thompson. See, it's going to be the AMG making its way through. Leonardus defends. Peyton in a very difficult spot himself as he's got Hamby breathing down his neck. This entire cohort here is all silver class drivers, so there's no kind of gapping to be spoken of here. The grid is fairly segmented and blocked between them all. See a little bit of an off-track excursion. Leonardus has to regain the composure over his car. Holds his own. Holds the line, holds firm. 10 minutes in, things are looking mighty striking and mighty spicy. Got a little bit of a wobble as well. So Richard Cook, I believe one of the other cars involved in the earlier incident. So Chris Wilson, many more. They are going to have their work cut out. He's not going to yield an inch. He's going to go side by side. Mansell's on the outer. And a solid move for Richard Cook. It's P19. Moscari leading the charge for Silver. And maybe even sniffing on the coattails of Engdahl as he tries to hold the line. And I believe we do come back for a Season 8, which is fairly likely. We will see some drivers getting shuffled about should they return. I can see a few Silver drivers who more than deserve a place at the top spot, on the top rung of the ladder in gold. And likewise, I see many drivers in bronze who would do well to benefit from a chance of promotion. Scary making it now 2 gold class cars between himself and the next closest competitor in McNair. And the field is stabilizing in some areas, but only getting more and more exciting in others. Oh, a big slide from Ascari. Barely holds it together as he tried to assert a defensive line on Engdahl. Managed to hold that together despite the speed and the commitment. That was a pretty scary moment there, I've got to say. You say watch them all just try and trace his line to maximize a potential slipstream. See Engdahl peeking to the inside, Scurry not allowing it. And then looking a bit further ahead, much similar can be said for Lindblom. He's got the fastest lap of the race. He's trying to close the time. And just at this point, get round that Bentley. You can see how much he wants it. He got the fastest Sector 2, but then his slowest Sector 3. He wants this one. He wants to make this work. And looks like we've had a little bit of an incident. That's going to be Chris Wilson. He's had a drop off the field. Wonder if there has been just a bit of an off from him. We'll also check a little bit earlier in the race. So this is a replay on board with Richard Cook here. So this was, if we rewind the clock back to lap 1. You can see coming up, that's Thompson and Lenatus. There's a bit of contact. And we will have seen plenty of moments like that. Drivers just going a bit aggressive and not necessarily heeding the space available. The top two have managed to get a significant breakaway now. It's 6.2 seconds and counting between himself and his fellow racers. Lindblom, though, has decided, I think enough is enough here. He's gonna peek alongside. He's gonna go for it. You can see he's holding his nerve, holding firm. Through the first corner there. Has the inside on a lockdown. R35 has got the pace to make this one work. And Peter Wolfslener, after 6 laps of fighting and a brilliant show, has conceded position for now to Lindblom. It looks like he's got plenty of fight left in him. Look how close that Bentley is getting through the S-curves. He's getting very close there. And he's angling for that chance, that fighting spot, to really just make it happen here. Looks like we have a big issue though. That is Engdahl. He's gone off at the end of the S-curves in through Dunlop. We'll try and see what happened there. It's on board with the helicopter. So he's just chasing the back of the Ferrari up ahead. And we can see, oh, just a little bit too much there. Goes for a 360. Luckily, minimal casualty. As we see a Mansell making his way over in P23. We jump aboard with Colin. Second place for silver right now. But the way this currently stands, he might be able to get closer to that points place finish. They're looking very well planted. McNair is going to be a driver to watch for sure. We check on board with our top two. Looks like Wolfslener has managed to hold proximity well enough, but this is where Lindblom is in his element. He's started to break away. He's going to break the 1 second mark very soon. And we have seen from rounds past, Lindblom, when given his own space, is a weapon that can get away from anyone. But we've got a situation where he was held up for several laps, and Wolfslener is not dropping beyond that time. For all that it's worth, He's doing an immaculate job, still retaining the pressure, even if he lost the position. Not going to lose the war. Even when you consider that they are both running relatively slow laps. It's the amount of fight that they've got on display that will determine where they end up. Currently about a second between Walter and Lindblom, so he's teetering on that edge. Of course, much to play for still. We're going to see a bit of a position change, as McNair has managed to get around Cutler. I'm very excited to see how this battle here ends up, because we have got Cutler, who got promoted last season out of Silver, versus McNair, who's currently one of the Silver Season's top contenders. Unfortunately, one that has been hampered by penalty points in McNair's case. Remember, 40 points. That is a big chunk of your race results diminished. But a great show nonetheless. So Justin is going to be dropping a little bit of space. And I'm wondering if McNair is going to have the space and wherewithal that he needs to take it away from Larson. Larson's in quite a cohort of cars, so it's not so easy for him to actually go in and take away positions. Positions mean points, points mean prizes, but with the eyes on the prize, Larson is falling short currently of that bombastic season win finish. In fact, Hamby is going to be the one that currently sits ahead of him. Then if anyone's going to make some big games, it's going to be Oscari. McNair, of course, being behind him by one position. But Herme had a really strong opener. He did not want to let anyone get anywhere near his dominance in Silver here tonight, so he put two gold class cars in between himself and his next competitor. Of course, many others fighting their good fight around the track. Eid has recovered onto the track and is currently a lap down. But remember, with a pit stop under the belt, he has got a bit of time to work with. That's going to be important later on. Just sort of taking a moment to observe as Larson is going to be getting closer to Hamby, and then Herme is closing in also on the next gold driver. Pretty sure this man is running on a diet of purely expectations, because he is eating up any expectations and are just showing what a capable driver he can be, as well as the kind of competition he's willing to go toe to toe with, even if it doesn't necessarily impact his race fully. They've got to say, Suzuka has never failed to impress. It's a very pretty track. It is a very nice track indeed. And one that I've always been super fond of. It's fast, it's technical, but it has character. It has personality. And that is something that can sometimes be devoid in modern track design. Suzuka is here in spades. It has a rich history, but even beyond that, it has such a unique layout, a unique concept. You have the start straight that is almost, if not the same length as the back stretch heading into 130R. You have the tight and winding first sector, followed immediately by passing under a later point in the track, and then firing away into a hairpin for the third. You have the arc as you come down the hill and then back up through 200R and into Spoon. And then you follow that same arc of the land once again into 130R to finish. One can't help but wonder how things would have been like in a different layout. What it's like if we didn't have the Casio triangle, the speeds that we see be taken into the final corner. Be quite something. We look to the front as the track is mostly stabilized. Lindblom, 2 seconds clear of Wolfslayer, will be the car to beat, and he's once again managed to find his pace and find his form. 59.8 last lap compared to a 2-minute 0.5 from Wolfslayer in the Bentley. Got some in the tank, but Wolfslayer's going to have to up his game now that Lindblom has started to settle in and push the bounds of those times. Well, his best is a 59.4. Wolfslayer is capable of this. It's about whether he can see it through all the way with the consistency he needs in race trim. Jump a little bit further down, we can see Ostrachar's hunting on the back of Peyton. He wants to get his position back into single digits, and whoa, that is Peyton spinning out in 130R, narrowly getting dodged by, I believe that was Patrick Larson. The rest of the field firing their way round, but the AMG did not get out so lucky. Fortunately, no casualties, no major incident. Cook is going to suffer a similar fate through Casio. But a scary sight to see a car spinning, rotating round across the track, especially in a position like that. You can see Cook has regained his composure, but Mark Hughes is going to be taking an easy spot, and he's not going to let it yield so easy. Doesn't let him retake it through the start-finish. Hero is going to be peaking alongside for the move, as Hughes has got a very significant breakaway. And then at the front, in the top 5, come on Hermé, duke it out. Gamma in the gold class doesn't necessarily have much to serve through fighting. But remember, racing drivers are gonna always give it the maximum amount of fight to the bitter end. There's flames coming out of that 720S exhaust. Guillermo holds his composure well. Thing where he can get the time up to Dave Marsh as well. He wants to avoid attacks and defenses, out of an abundance of caution for one. But more to the point, there's no value in him fighting. He wants to get into the podiums, and he hasn't really got much competition in the rest of the class below. Peyton is going to head into the pits following his little off-track excursions. So into the pit now. Richard Cook as well is going to be one who jumps in. 35 minutes left to go, so fairly early in terms of your pit stop window. Although maybe they would just need to regain a composure and check the car following the spin out. Lawson, you gotta get a move on, buddy. Championship could hang in the balance here. Your next closest rival is a whole 5 positions ahead. Got to get that hunt down. You've got to make this one work. Time is not going to be on his side here. Because as soon as his rivals start to lock in their own track space, you might as well say goodbye to any gains in position. He's got a lot of work to do. Not a lot of time to do it in either. Come aboard with the helicopter, as you can see, it's a tale of 2 battles, but each one is inextricably linked. Lawson, trying his best to chase onto Hamby, is going to drop the tail through the Casio triangle. He's going to lose a bit of time, can hopefully get it back on slipstream to an extent. But then you have the fight between Lenatus and Ostrachaz just above, a couple of tenths away. And if these two start to slow down, owing to their fighting, this is going to mean everything to Hamby. If he times it right, he can get a double overtake potentially through a key section of the track. But if not, we are looking at some serious problems. Being stuck behind these two, and with Larson waiting in the wings. The last thing he wants is an obstruction. See that there is going to be a brief incident flag coming up for Dave Marsh, but I think that might be a false alarm. Might have been a slight false alarm there. There's Ostrachaz. Still hunting on the back of Lenatus. Lenatus refuses to yield. There will be no yielding from that McLaren, even when it is under pressure through 130R, no less. Hamby getting himself involved too. He's going to peek around the outside briefly. Does not fully commit through the triangle. All the best. But we see a couple more cars now heading into the pits. Dave Marsh is in. And not just Marsh, Northern Larson too. Johan Larson into the pits. So that's going to mean a major immediate gain for the field. But there will be, of course, when it's their turn to go pitting, as Mansell is going to demonstrate, they themselves will lose that same time that these top runners are now yielding off of. We are rejoin onto the racing line quick as possible. Open track, so he went over the white line. Just seeing that there's no potential obstruction. And goes about his merry way. Now one has to hope that he doesn't yield and doesn't fall in this situation. He's got an ideal spot that he can make this work with. We see leader Lindblom head into the pit. I think this could be a crucial chance here for Wolfslanner. Wolfslanner and a couple of others have been the cars who go for the late pit stops, who go for the splash and dash strategy. He can make it work here. Just needs to balance that timing perfectly. It's high risk. At high risk comes high reward, of course. And the eyes very much trained on that top spot, on holding down that podium. To have the strength to say, I earned this, your move. Yeah, Leonardo's leading the queue, the second cars. Lindblom are now out of the pits, having taken his mandatory stop. See, going very aggressive through Degner 1, Degner 2. Wonder if there is just some time to be gained there without a loss in stability. Keeping the cars reined in is pretty important here at Suzuka. We've already seen the rear axle step out a few times, and we're going to see that almost textbooking on cue. Lenarta's going a bit deep into the hairpin and kicking the back end. That leaves an opportunity for Ostrishars to peek around at the very least. The spoon curve aims to the outside. Doesn't quite go for it, but setting up a potential switchback. Very close. Getting dicey, getting a little nervesy. Ostrishars and Leonardo's both, they have very different aims, but the goal is the same. The fundamentals to win out against your rivals and to bring points home. That's where it can all boil. And boil over at that. Wolfslanner now heading into the pits, leaving a certain Ferrari out in first. 2 seconds clear of Guillemot. Lemay is going to be our provisional race leader. You'll see some others pushing their way out. And we can see something very interesting has happened. Remember, Wolfslanner, Lindblom both have taken their pit stops, but look at the timing gap. Wolfslanner is in P10. Lindblom is in P13. And with a significantly longer stop, Wolfslanner has just taken the lead. By almost 10 seconds too. You just don't see this kind of paradigm shift so dramatically. There's much to look forward to here as we jump a bit up ahead. We can see Leonardus. We just saw him in time, losing the position to Ostrishars in the Beamer. The push is going to be real, and the push is going to be high. Going for the gold here. Ambi is going to be sniffing out a similar chance. Know where I'd be if given the choice. He'll be on board, almost peeking out the side of the car to see directly how these drivers are conducting themselves. I don't think it gets enough credit sometimes, the kind of work that goes into a driver's training. It's everything from the mechanics to the racecraft to knowing how to make decisions extremely quickly. Especially when you look at it in our real-life counterpart. A split-second decision, a split-second reaction can mean the difference between walking home or being escorted there. Luckily, we've moved from the days of being driven there in black. A lot of advancements in motorsport safety over the years. Everything from the Tech Pro barriers to how the car's constructed. It's all in service of the drivers. Complexity may add weight, but if that's the sacrifice, so be it. Just quickly on board with Hamby. You can see it's almost like letterboxing when you look in the front splitter. As I'll put your camera on the front shelf of this Lambo, just because of the overhangs and the splitter being such an aggressive shape. It almost looks like the camera is being letterboxed. Hamby not taking to the tunnel vision though. He refuses to accept any kind of pressure from any others. He's intent on getting himself up into P6. He will stop at nothing. Ostrachaz into the pit, along with Hamby. So he's going to be coming through. And it looks like we just had a bit of an incident there from Wolfslenner. So let's take a look on the helicopter. Chasing down Carl Thompson. Heading into Casio, goes a little bit deep. And oh, he spins out. A little bit aggressive there. And you can see that's the red and gold. That is Lindblom just passing him by there, and he's into the pit. Wolfslenner, in fact, Wolfslenner I think is out. I can't go back onto his camera. Wolfslenner is out. He's quit out after that. He RTP'd. And that's it. Game over. I think that would have been such a brilliant race up until that point. For himself and his rival. Of course, the overtake from his rival might have been what undid it for him there. But consistent 159s coming through from the GTR. He's going to continue to push through. There's a lot of time being made in that second sector in particular. And he's got much work to do. But he leads the queue of cars who have pitted in. 24 cars remain on this course. All manner of different walks and at different stages of their races. Leonardus is going to be heading into the pits on this one alongside Carl Thompson. Hughes is going to be doing the same. Hermé is in now as well. Guillemard is going to take provisional lead. Of course, it's only a matter of time before drivers start to consider, if they haven't already taken it, their pit position. It matters just as much where you come out. For instance, Hermé has got the ideal position to come out because he hasn't got any traffic around him. He's not got any pressure. Get those tyres into their operating window. And then see to it that he has got a chance to move forward. You'll see a few drivers now coming out of the pit lane, and we only have 4 more cars left to do it. This is going to be the bit of the conundrum. Let's look to someone like Cutler for an example. And we can very clearly see just what is going on. The tyres may be starting to fall away a little bit. They're lapping in the 202s and the 3s. Compared to the rest of the field's flat and 1. You can see they remain committed. I think they're going for their last minute splash and dash theory. You can even see that is McNair up in the distance. He's hungry for it. The Engdahl going on the aggressive through the hairpin. He's only gone and got himself into P16. We have less than 20 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen. And the season has been spicy. But nonetheless, the racers have still got work to do. And they are feeling the demands. More to come, of course. But the field has reached a point of, equilibrium. It has reached that stage that everyone is just trying to find their own space. They're not necessarily focused on fighting, on battling. That's not their goal nor their focus. They just want to bring it home. And for many on this grid who are relatively isolated, that is their goal. Take Hermé. He's currently sat with 17 seconds between himself and Lindblom. He's hoping that the rest of the field is going to fall behind him when it comes to the pit stop window. And he can only really pray for that. Guillemard is going to commit further to his current stint, alongside McNair doing very much the same, and Cutler following just behind. Fordhouse is last of the 4, and a fair bit closer to his competition, like Lindblom, than he is to those who have yet to pit. I mean, look at this, for instance. Lindblom has just clocked a 2-minute .7. Fordhouse has got a 2-minute 3. You needed any more proof of the embodiment of pace and strategy compared to someone who's taken that longer stint. There you go. Reed is dropping a spot. Payton is also going to be dropping as Engdahl is going for a push. They're going to commit it through 130R, of course. But a well-executed overtake by Jimmy. It's very well executed, I must say. Very finely tuned, finely dialed in. Everyone is bringing their A game out in the last round. Fastest lap held by a certain Lindblom of 59.7. As well as holding the lead of the race of the pit stop runners. And he's in fact going to go one step further, and he's overtaken Aldhouse. So he's overtaken people who haven't pitted yet. And that might be Aldhouse's signal to come in, if he hasn't already planned to. Oh, a little bit of a kick. That's going to be a rare moment of a wobble coming in from the GTR. Like him. Meanwhile, we have Colin, who is in the pit now. And is soon going to be coming out, but he's got some time to burn. So 40 seconds and counting there. McNair is on his way out now. And he's going to rejoin in 6th place. He's just going to pip out Marsh, in fact. So it is a shame about Wolfsler losing out on him. That would have been a brilliant fight to the very end here. It can sometimes happen though, and the passions can run. That's the beauty and the nature of racing. It's a very emotive sport. As you can always get a read on a driver's mental just through the movements of their car alone. So you can sense those base traits, those wants, those desires through the wheel. The impatience as you are stuck behind a car for multiple laps at a time. The tenacity as you have that early start. The cunning and the guile to trick your opponents into a non-defendable position. And I could say so much more. Right now, the part that matters is that the racers are racing. And they have about 15 minutes left to go on the clock. But the thing that strikes out to me the most is consistency. Everyone who leads does so not purely by pace, but through being able to put that pace again and again and again down on track. I'm seriously impressed with everyone's performances out on track today and throughout this entire season. You can see there's a brief moment of weakness there for Thompson, and that is going to be all the invitation that Larson needs to go for the move and go on the attack. We also have others eager to take a shot at the single digits at the top 10. The tensions and nerves are really creeping up to a fever pitch now. Ostrachas, for instance, he's behind Patrick Larson. He knows what could be at stake. Oh, we're seeing a very, very interesting timing board. As it had a moment. We'll call it a moment there. We still have all 24 drivers. The hiccup that the tech experienced. So the Aldhouse is going to be finally coming in now. He's finally come in. And he's showing his moxie after a very, very long stint. We'll see where he ends up. And I'd have to agree with the interpretation seen in the live chat. Say Thompson is a strong driver as well. And he's one that really has taken the fight to the track for his class. He's currently sat P13. Now, this may look like he's only second. He may look like he's behind Aldhouse, but watch that change. As they are soon very closely reunited. Or are they? Very fast pit stop. In fact, I was wrong there. Aldhouse has taken that last-minute splashes dash strategy to heart. He's going to be slotted firmly ahead of Lenatus. Have we just seen a strategic masterstroke coming in from Aldhouse there with the longest stint? I don't really know what to make of that. Hey, Thompson has put on a seriously impressive drive in his own right, and that can never be disputed. He's done brilliantly this season. And Aldhouse has just pulled a bit of a trap card. He's thrown some magic in there as he's got his way up into P7. Emma is into the pits. Is that going to be Cutler doing the same? Let's find out. He is going to commit further. 24 laps in. And now to B25. Cutler leads the race. Lindblom is not far behind, however. So I would be a little bit concerned, a little bit worried. That's the kind of car he got in the rearview mirror. Final 10 minutes. Larson hunting. Lenatus waiting. Drivers poised to take spots and go on the aggressive. That's Ostrashaz. Taps the corner. Goes for a little bit of movement to Casio. Doesn't materialize for him there. It's not quite gonna happen. Not yet, anyway. Doesn't want to lose that one so easily. So Patrick Larson was being a strong driver and a strong contender, and is in fact ahead of Johan Larson, who is in the class above. Stuck behind Paul Hamby. Got about 1.5 seconds faster times on average, but just can't get by. Great defensive driving will do that to you. We've got Lenatus and Larson trading positions. They're going to go side by side through 200R. They're going to reaffirm their position back. But Ostrashaz has gone for a chance here into Spoon. He saw an opportunity and he very much took it. Cutler, after finally being in the pits, being the last driver to do so, is going to rejoin the course, and he's going to rejoin in a P6 capacity. He's well and truly clear of the second queue of cars, which is going to be Aldhouse, among others. Cutler also getting a very rapid stop, about 5 seconds faster compared to the competition. The full-on pit time is going to be fairly long, but if you can minimize on that, absolutely do it. It's time you are spending standing still, which is a death nail to any racing that you want to do. A great trio of cars having formed. However, throughout all of this chaos, there is still some order. And that order comes in the form of Lenatus, Ostrashaz, and Larson, with Johan Larson a little bit further behind. All committed together to make this track truly memorable. here in the seniors calendar. See, Ostrachaz is going for it. Would that be enough? Looks like we've had a bit of an incident further down. Let's check on board the helicopter. You can see this is Chris Mansell now. He's chasing down what looks to be Cook. And then there you go. Goes across the gravel. Palm rejoin. Home about. Honestly, nothing to write home about there. We still got plenty to discuss up the front. Now I want to highlight something that's exciting and something that's scary. I mean, Mansell heading into the pit. But something that is brilliant is the fighting that we've seen around this mid-pack group in particular. They all stay within close opportunity. They do not yield an inch to the other. They are pushing each other through. That's cold, hard racing. I'm here for it. This will be an important milestone, but not as important as for some, given that a certain Lindblom is going to be leading. Not just leading though, they are leading by 26 seconds. Insane amount of running. See, dodging other traffic, making sure that there's no issues. Before racing it down to the final 2 laps or so. Remember, this is the second to last lap. Next lap is going to take it. You can see there's going to be Lenatus, Ostrachaz, Larson, and Larson all in the same space. Both of Larson's reunited. Ostrachaz and Lenatus, they're going to keep it close. And they're going to try and break away. The slipstream is his to bear. But then the 2 Larsons in the background are squabbling. They are fighting for position. You can see them go side by side throughout the first corner. Johan is the one to take the top honours on this. Hold their ground and hold their tongue. Final minute, however, which means drivers might get a little bit desperate. They might be desperate for those positions. They might be begging for the points. Also, penalties will swiftly nail you back down, but you never truly put it past one or another. Thompson and Engdahl were in close quarters, but you heard it over race control. 27.6 seconds ahead and counting. Lindblom has been confirmed. This is the final lap. Everyone in race control spreading that position, that word out. Important business. Just check in with this mini field. Remember, between Aldhouse and Ostrachaz is 8 seconds, and between Aldhouse and Cutler is 16. I don't think we're going to see any kind of movements between these two packs, between these two groups. Even now, oh, Engdahl is going to be spun round. Let's see exactly what happened here. He was on board with a fight with Thompson, and it looks like some serious contact between them. Thompson, that was a problem there for sure. You see, he's going to recover back onto his own feet. However, not quite going to have the same effect. But coming up to the line now, unfettered, undeterred, an insane season, almost untouchable by their compatriots, by their opponents, and in the end, David Lindblom, you are not only going to be the winner of the Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix here in SIMseniors, but you are the Season 7 Gold Champion. The points margin and the domineering performance cannot be understated. What an amazing show. And those donuts are well earned, absolutely well earned. We are following way through now. Frederick Guillemard, second position for gold. And then when you look to the field behind them, Oscari Herme is going to complete the podium. An immense race from them and a solid finisher to the season. McNair closely behind. Dave Marsh even closer than that, and Justin going to be very soon follow. You can see everyone else now pouring through. Now Aldhouse is going to be taking the win for the bronze class. Certainly will be enough points for them to gain second in the standings. And then you look around, Hero is in the pit, Simon is in the pit, and we were down to 20 cars. So retiring in the pit lane fairly early on, and there you go. That is it, and that is time. So reminder, Lindblom takes that, as well as being your champion here for gold. You have Guillemard, and then you follow that with Dave Marsh in third place. Oscari is going to be the one who begs the flag and bears the flag alongside McNair, both putting down a great performance. We'll see where the points lined up, as Patrick Larson finished in P10. Aldhouse, what a showing. Great strategic timing, pit stop pace. It was all there this evening. And then that's going to be fairly close, followed by Carl Thompson. Unfortunately, we can't show his camera. And then Alex North. The closest we'll get is Mark Hughes. But that does it for not only tonight's race, folks, but for the season. Like we were saying, it's a bittersweet moment when you get to a time like this. It's the end, and this means a lot. For our drivers, it means a break. For the commentators and the staff, it means a chance to regroup, iterate, improve on Season 8 and beyond. And while we will miss the relative racing, I'm sure the teams, the champions, can all take pride in how they've raced throughout this season, and we're looking forward to seeing more of them come Season 8. So it's been an absolute pleasure, nothing short of an absolute pleasure to commentate for you this season and for seasons past. Brilliant to watch you out on track, and it's been great to work with some like-minded folks over at SIMseniors who want to just put on some great racing, and that was absolutely achieved. So to the champions, to the drivers, to the staff, and everyone else, I tip my cap. I bid you farewell, but only farewell for now. I'm hopeful for what comes in the future, And this won't be the last time that I appear in a SimSeniors commentary box. Things might look a little different. Things might sound a little different. But the outcome will always remain. And the racing will always continue. Of course, if you do enjoy what we do here at SimSeniors, if you want future seasons or some of the other events, let's give the stream a little bit of a love. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Get involved with things like our Facebook group and our Discord server. And for now, to everyone watching at home, to all the drivers who made it happen, I bid you a good evening. And I will see you. Well, I'll see you next time. Whenever that may be. But goodbye for now.